What's going on, guys? Welcome back to We Want Picks. My name is Jacob, aka the Freckle Salamander, here to bring you the fastest quick pick video for UFC Seattle. I'm gonna give you 3 keys to victory for every fighter. I'm gonna make a pick. If you like this video, make sure you like the video. Subscribe if you are new. Check out We Want Picks. It's only $10 a month. Let's get right into the action. Modestas versus Raffael. If you're Modestas, you gotta stay out of the pocket. This guy does have some real power. I would rest early. Let's get some oxygen. So let's get the lungs going of Raffael. Take a little pop out of those shots. Wrestle early, then worry about the other stuff. Hands up always. I know that you're the better striker, but when you're in the pocket, sometimes you drop those hands. Not a good idea against Raffael. If you're Raffael, force those exchanges. Get in there. Make it nasty. Extend those combinations. It's going to be the 3rd and 4th shot that finds Modestas if you hang out in the pocket. Not just one hitter quitter. And if you are throwing the one shot, let's make it nice and straight. No looping shots where Modestas could see him coming. Nice and straight. Extend the combination. With all that said, I'm going Modestas. He's the better fighter. I do worry about him hanging out in the pocket. He does drop those hands, gets hits a little bit. But Modestas is the better fighter. He is going to be my pick for this fight. Nurzulton versus Eric. I think I have Aaron on here, but it's Eric. If you're Nurzulton, spacing is going to be your friend and no guard play. If this guy gets you down, I don't want you on your back throwing up your legs. Let's scramble back to an advantageous position and no clinching. Don't let this guy muscle you against the fence and just hold you and just stall out for a win. If you are Eric, that's exactly what I want you to do. Let's push this big guy against the fence. Just use some strength. Get that chin underneath his head. Let's make him frustrated. And if you get him on the ground, you better cover those hips. Make sure he's not swinging those hips, getting those triangles up. And if you get on top, if you cover those hips, let's make him pay. This isn't a regional guy that you can just hold. Let's make him pay. Elbows, big shots. All that said, I'm going Nurzulton. The length on the feet is probably going to be a little bit too much for Eric, and once he starts wrestling and scrambling, he's going to realize this is a big motherfucker that knows what he's doing. I like Nurzulton to get this done. Ricky Simón versus Cejudo. If you're Ricky Simón, pressure, activity, get in this guy's face. Be the one moving forward, controlling the octagon. I want 5 fucking takedown attempts around. I want the old Ricky Simón all over you and win the first round. You don't want to be falling behind with this guy in a little bit of a flow state, having to win the next 2 rounds. Win the first round, then you also got to always win one of the next 2. If you're jobbing, I don't want no ego fighting, right? Sometimes you can do the spinning stuff. You're stunting in there. You're thinking you're the big dude. Let's fight this guy. Let's counter wrestle. Wrestle the wrestler. I don't think he's going to, but I would wrestle the wrestler. And a sense of urgency. You lost that last fight because you just assumed you were doing enough against Ricky Simón. That's not going to be enough. Give me Ricky Simón in this fight and basically his hometown. I think the tenacious, ferocious, moving forward style is going to be enough to get him the decision. He might not get all the takedowns, but if he's shooting 10, 15 takedowns, getting 5 of them, I think that is going to be enough to give him this decision win. Klein versus Mansur. If you're Nick Klein, you got to get to the second round, man. You got to do anything you can to get to the second round, and that means no guard play. If you're shooting takedowns and he counters, you're on your back. You do not want to be on your back in your guard versus this guy. You're going to be eating elbows. It's going to be a bad idea, and I would just run. First round, I would just run, get to the second round because that's probably the best chance you're going to have. If you're Mansur, no lazy scrambles early. Let's be on the P's and Q's here because this guy Nick Klein can be pretty sneaky on the ground. Let's wait for those entries. You don't have to storm across on this guy and try to chase the big knockout. I bet that Nick Klein is going to come to you, be ready with those shots, and if you do not get him out in the first round, enough chasing the KO. That's when you started to almost get in trouble in your Contender Series fight. If you're not out of there in the first round, the second round starts, let's just settle into the fight. Let's touch him because if this guy is winning scrambles in the second round, it could be issues. I am going with Mansur to win this fight. The ground and pound, the power early is probably going to be a little bit too much, and the aggression of Nick is probably going to work against him. But if this gets out of the first round, things could get a little bit hairy. Give me Mansur to get it done. Andre Fili versus Costa. If you're Andre Fili, I would counter wrestle. You know, I say it all the time. Wrestle the wrestler. You know how to wrestle and grapple. Don't be afraid to wrestle and don't give up your back. If you get in a scramble, this guy, Milk, if he gets on your back, he will get you in a body triangle and he will stall you out. In the same sense, don't let him stall you against the cage either. If he is not able to get the takedown, don't let him hang on your hips. Let's get those underhooks. Let's peel them off. Let's get back to space. If you're Milk, trust your hands a little little bit. You don't have to come in with a crazy wrestle-heavy game plan. You got power to hands. This guy's been touched before. Trust your hands a little bit. Let's extend the wrestling. He probably is going to defend the first shot, but let's stay on him. Stay on those hips. Let's chain wrestle a little bit. And on the ground, this isn't going to be an easy guy to submit. You almost kind of got to set traps down there. See if you can almost bait him into an opportunity, and that's when you're able to get his back or get his neck, something like that. For this fight, I am going Melt Costa, who was an underdog for a little bit. He should be able to do more than enough with the hands, but the constant pressure with the wrestling, with the grappling, I believe he's going to get in some advantageous positions and hopefully find a finish versus Andre Fili. Iwan versus Ebo. If you're Iwan, you better wrestle. Wrestle. You better get that takedown early. Better get him off them. Better get a lot of control. Don't back up. You saw what happens. If you get your back against the fence, it's a guy Ebo is just going to walk through your bullshit and fucking lay you out. Let's throw some kicks. Right? Let's keep the range. You don't have to just box or wrestle. Kicking is allowed in this game. It keeps the space, keeps him away. If you're Ebo, defend the takedowns. Don't scramble. You do that pretty well anyway. Don't force the KO. You don't have to charge at this guy and throw wild shots. Natural power. The big shots might get you taken down or get you clipped. And don't flinch on those face-offs, huh, sweetheart? You know this guy's gonna come in and do some wild shit. Stay stoic. Stay stone-faced. Look him dead in the eye. No flinching on the face-offs. I'm going Ebo in this one. I don't think the wrestling is going to be enough from Iwan. Even if he gets an early takedown, Ebo should be able to survive on the ground and on the feet. You see this guy's a tank with those big, with those I'm on from the fucking hips, but I think the shots will find and give me Ebo to get it done. Alonzo Menifield versus Julius Walker. If you're Alonzo Menifield, let's see some straight shots. It seems like you've kind of regressed in the striking, some big looping shots. That's only going to open up the takedowns for a guy like Julius Walker. Smart pressure early. This guy's coming in, making his UFC debut, gonna be amped up, an undefeated fighter. Smart pressure early, just back him up, extend the fight, and use some physicality. Let's back him up, let's get him in the clinch, right? He's gonna have his adrenaline going. Let's settle him down, make him blow his load, trying to get off the clinch. Use your grown man strength. If you're Julius, I would try to get that early takedown. Demoralize Alonzo a little bit. Get those big muscles full of blood. Let's use some feints, right? Let's draw out those big shots. You've seen Alonzo Menifield lately throw some big shots where he's almost throwing himself off balance. Let's use some feints. And if you get this guy on the ground, control over submission. I know those regional guys, you can just posture up and elbow and submit. Alonzo's going to be a little bit different. Let's look for some control first, slow him down, and then work off of that. With all that said, I am going Julius as an underdog pick here. I just don't think, it feels like Alonzo is digressing as a fighter. 37, almost 38 years old now. I like Julius to get this fight on the ground and get it done. John Silva versus Melkin. If you're John Silva, I would wrestle early. If anything, I would just wrestle early, blitz this guy early. He's been away from the Yadong. He's a timing striker. Get all over this guy, but be smart. Not too wild. Back him up. Big, nice, tight shots, because if you're starting to get wild, Melsik is a capable striker. If you're Melsik, you gotta check that ego, man. You have to check that ego. You do not want to go tit for tat with a guy like John Silva. Let's take our time. Let's find our timing. You've been away from the game and focus on a decision win. If you come in thinking I'm going to knock out John Silva, probably not going to go well. But if you stay technical, focus on a decision win, spacing, touch, you could pull this off, which would be a major upset, a big win for your career. With all that said, I gotta go John Silva. I just don't think Melsik is going to have the power to be able to hurt this guy. He is going to stay in Melsik's face. Melsik, a timing strike with all this layoff and injuries. I hate doing it, but I'm going John Silva. Raffael versus John Matsumoto. Hey, if you're Raffael, you got to do what you do. That is stick the jab on this kid's face. He does get hit, and if you're sticking that jab, he could get discombobulated a bit. You got to back him up, control that octagon. I believe whoever is controlling the octagon in this fight is going to win this fight. Bait him into a boxing match. I don't know if you got to talk to him, whatever it is. John's got a little bit of an ego as well, so if you can bait him into the boxing match, obviously that is where you're going to shine. If you're G Matsumoto, do not box. You do not want to box this guy, Raffael. I know you're a striker, Muay Thai. Let's stay at space, use those kicks, control the pacing, control the octagon. Let's chain wrestle. I know that Raffael might defend, especially if you're backing him up and he's against the fence, he might be able to defend that first takedown. But if you chain wrestle, if you stay on him, you're strong enough, catch weight 140, you can get him to the ground, control him on the ground, win this fight, get out of there with the win. I gotta go my babyface assassin, Gene Matsumoto. Hey! to win this fight. I think the wrestling's going to be there. And even in the striking, he's got some power in his own right. Watch that right hand sneaking through a Raffael. Give me G to get it done. Brendan Allen versus Fluffy Hernandez. If you're Brendan Allen, defend, don't scramble. I'm going to rope in 2 of these in 1. I wouldn't have a wrestling game plan. I know you're a grappler. I know you can wrestle. You don't want to get worn down against Fluffy because then it's fucking game over. Make this fight as boring as possible. Back up, stick the jab, move, footwork. Don't let him touch you and try to get out of this fight. If you're Fluffy, just swarm him. I wouldn't respect the striking. I would just get on his hips, work him, scramble. Don't give up your back though. Brendan Allen, if he does get your back, has got a rear naked choke that is very tight and very quick to get in. And watch those elbows. If you're against the fence and you're stalling a little bit, watch the elbows off the clinch. Watch the down elbows. I don't want you getting in trouble. Cut, whatever it is. I gotta go Fluffy here. He's done it before. He just wears people down. Brendan Allen, I don't believe he's gonna have enough in the hands to hurt Fluffy. Bodywork, I know, but Fluffy just wears people down in those scrambles. He might catch something, but I'd like Fluffy to get this done. And the main event, we got Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong. If you're Henry Cejudo, control the octagon moving forward. That is going to be key here. Wrestle to win rounds. A lot of times people are wrestling in the beginning of the round. The judges forget that. 30 seconds to go. Let's shoot a takedown. Get the control. Get the wrestling to win the round in the judges' eyes and fight the ego of Song Yadong. Talk to him. Strut a little bit. Bait him into overextending. If your Song Yadong activity is going to be your friend. Touch, touch, touch. Moving forward. End rounds on the feet. Just like Henry Cejudo might try to get you down on the ground in a close round to win that round. You better make sure because you lost your last fight by ending the fight on your back. You cannot end rounds on your back. Fight to win rounds, not exchanges. You're not trying to knock this guy. He's a tried and true veteran at all levels of MMA and athletic abilities. You're not trying to knock this guy out. 5 rounds. Touch him to win the rounds, to do damage, not try to win the moments. I'm going Song Yadong. The talent level should be there in the striking, the defensive wrestling. If Song Yadong is ending rounds on his back, it's going to be time to panic a little bit. But Song Yadong, it's time to put up or shut up against an aging veteran. Get this done. Get back into title contention. This has been the quick pick video for UFC Seattle. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you like the video. Subscribe if you are new. WeWantPicks.com. Only $10 a month. My name is Jacob, aka the Freckle Salad Man. I'm out. Peace.